Hey all, so I have a real short war video here to open up the season, but they're really cool fights, in my opinion. So we have this this new Mystic Path, basically a nothing node, but Spot is a brand new defender, so I'm not really taking any chances here. And I knew right away what I was going to do was just do a couple short hits and try and get into Panther's Might immediately because I wanted my 50% ability accuracy reduction. Now, I knew that going into it right away without building a lot of cruelties would mean that I didn't have a lot of precisions and I probably wasn't going to get up bleeds, or at least not a lot of bleeds, and therefore I wasn't going to get to 100% ability accuracy, but I would much rather that than try and build the bleeds and the cruelties before throwing my special one and risk him getting to 5 spots before I'm ready for it. Now, this special 2 was incredibly ill-advised, so I'm glad I didn't get wrecked for that. But everything else you've seen about this fight, the Power Start 1, the making sure that you can block some of his special 1, but knowing where to dex so that you can punish it and remove the spot that way, all of that I'm really proud of, and I think that this was a really solid counter to this placement. Would recommend, would assign again. You can also use Nick Fury with a Power Start 1, but I don't have Nick Fury. This is what I needed to do. So then we have this Mangog. Reed can take Mangog almost anywhere. I mean, the EMP modification is going to capitalize on the placebo buffs, but the way Reed works against a lot of fights is that they just don't throw many specials, and EMP modification is not that dangerous if they don't throw that many specials. On top of that, we are, as always, running Inequity, and so reducing his attack, and Reed has energy resistance, so the shocks aren't going to hurt us that much. Unfortunately, I did just fully hesitate on that heavy. I was like, oh, I parried him. I guess I should have... And then, yeah, we paid for it. Thankfully, as I keep saying, Reed is tanky. Inequity, class disadvantage, physical resistance all came into play there. We didn't lose too much. We're only taking one fight with Reed. This is not a problem. We got to the special 2 faster because of it, honestly. And then now we are fully ramped. Now he is draining his own power. He's probably not going to throw another special, no matter how long this fight went, even if he wasn't already below 15% health. This is completely over. Incredibly good counter. We're also reversing Mystic Dispersion. Nothing you have to worry about. I do think you want a Power Start for that one to make sure that it doesn't get fully out of hand, but you probably don't strictly need it, and with a Power Start, perfect counter. So then let's talk about this Galan fight. There are a couple different ways that you can do this. I do think that these pre-fights from Reed help Hyperion in particular quite a bit. There are other good counters for this. I'm not going to talk about those right now. I've taken Galan with Hyperion many times in Battlegrounds and on other smaller nodes, and so I knew the basics here, but you are going to see some significant mistakes. I'm going to call that out ahead of time. So number one, this is what we're going to want to do. We're going to want to parry and hope that he throws that heavy so that we can respond with a special 1. That's going to knock him down, hopefully place some incinerates on him, and also refresh our debuffs from Mr. Fantastic. Now, blocking that special 1 is going to start to hurt. Yeah, I'm just going to say it's going to start to hurt. But I was intentionally pushing up to the special 3. I risked potentially losing my debuffs because of it, and that's because I want the extra damage from these cosmic charges. A lot of people tend to look at them as fuel for the regen, or potentially as the physical resistance, but they are also basically free Furies, and I think it's very important to keep that in mind. I didn't want to go for the special 2 here. It's not particularly good in this fight, but it does hold on to the Mr. Fantastic pre-fights, and that is what I want more than anything else here. We're just trying to spam the special 1 whenever we can and block his special 1. This fight is going basically perfectly right now. But because of what I told you earlier, you know there's mistakes coming. And there it is. That was a bad one. Did not want to block that, but it happened. And then now he's going to go into the harvest. He goes unstoppable there. What I should have done in hindsight was, for one thing, I should have been a little bit cleaner about that special 1 intercept, and I would have knocked him down with it. But rather than hit him, knowing that adaptive is a thing, I should have tried to go straight for the special 3 before hitting him again. Never touched him again, never given him another buff. Thrown this to remove 90 mass. Because what I did not know, and probably should have tested going into this fight, was that Galan apparently has the same call out that Mr. Fantastic's pre-fights do, where if the opponent is not, or if Galan is unstoppable, the special 3 does not reduce his mass. I did not know that, or I would have played differently. So that is a significant mistake, and I have cost myself quite a bit of health with that. I was winning this health race almost 2-1 before that mistake, and now I am kind of fighting my way up from... I was actually behind a bit there, and now I am barely at parity. We have controlled the harvest again. Or no, the mass is what I meant to say. So we're okay, but these special ones are hurting, and I'm not going for the full dex because I know that if I miss one and he crits, the fight is probably over. So I feel fairly decent about our ability to close this out, but throwing that special 1 into the ether definitely didn't help. I did practice these intercepts. I clearly did not practice them enough. Because immediately after this fight, I went and practiced it 4 or 5 times more. Because I really want this to just be completely solid next time I see him. Anyway, this is a very good counter. I don't know that it's as good as Symbiote Supreme at equal rank, but it was very easy for me to bring this because, like you saw, this was only my 3rd of 3 fights, and I maintain it being a very good counter, especially with Reed pre-fights. You just have to play it a little bit better than I did, and it should go much faster, and you should have much less health left, or much more health left. Whew, unfortunate misspeak there. But yeah, that was my first war. I wish that I had played that boss fight differently, but I will take a rusty solo over a death, especially first fight of the season. And especially because that was, you know, the last fight that anyone took in our battle group, and nobody had died up until then. I suspected that going into the boss fight, because I hadn't seen anybody report a death, but I didn't check, because I didn't want to put that extra pressure on myself. But first war of the season, Battle Group 3, got a donut. Really, really happy with that. It's a good group. We've had a couple of changes since last season, but just everybody executed really well, communicated, because, you know, we have different bands. We assigned Spider-Man 2099 for the first time in 2 seasons, and all those fights went really well. It was just a really... I know I've said really a lot, but it's just a great feeling to come out of the gate swinging like that. We also won the war pretty handily. I think our opponents probably gave up at a certain point, so I'm not going to judge them for their death count. It happens, especially with saving loyalty with those cheap revives. But yeah, hoping that we can carry this momentum forward into the rest of the season, because it felt really good. Anyway, until the next one, thanks so much for watching, and take care.